Hey everybody, thank you for coming back for another Let's Look At. I got a good one for you today, and if you haven't heard of it, it's high time you definitely did. So I've got Jazz Maynard here for all of us to enjoy today. Jazz Maynard is like Black Sad in the sense it was produced for a European audience and has slowly made its way to the United States and Canada and rest of the world. I stumbled upon this artwork about 6 years ago when I was looking to get really serious about comic books and, further developing my characters, further developing my style and my techniques in comic book inking. Um, I can't remember if the artist, by the way, is Roger uh, Ibanez or Ibanez. I don't know the pronunciation. He's a Spanish individual, and he's incredibly talented. I don't know who turned me on to his stuff. I think I just eventually caught wind of it. I was getting into a lot of European stuff there, and Ralph Myers, Ralph Myers, the guy who does Undertaker there that I showed you a couple weeks ago. He's one of them. Just fabulous brushwork and an entire comic book series illustrated in the same style by one artist. Today's video, I wanted to focus on two issues and a few pages from those two issues, just to kind of show you the growth of this artist as he started this character and how it kind of evolved even over 4 books. So, if you don't know, the way they do things in Europe, France and Spain, um, the artists, the writers, they will work on a book for a year, and it will come out in a storybook format. The pages are much bigger than our pages are in our graphic novels and comic books here in America. Um, and I'm pretty sure the books have somewhere like 50 to 60 pages within them. I'm not 100%, but yeah, this one's got about 50 to 60 pages in it. And the other one we looked at, the other two we looked at there, Black Sad and the Undertaker, were both the same. So okay, let's get into this thing. I'm going to show you. Jazz Maynard is a oh my god, I've read it very very briefly. This is more of a art study than anything and storytelling. When I look at these pages, well, for the first portion of my life, I mean, I've got two of the books. I think volume 2 and 3, book 2 and 3, and mine are in French. I don't have the English translations. I found them in Toronto a few years back. I bought them as I hadn't been able to find them anywhere else. I mean, you can get all this stuff on Amazon now, and I believe you can get it all now translated, as this digital copy is. Um, so yeah, this artist is fantastic. I'm trying to stay on point here. What was I talking about? Yeah, this is volume 1. This is book 1. As you can tell, the style is a little tighter than some of the stuff we've looked at before. Um, Roger's got an incredible style here. Lots of energy and action. Always interesting poses and dynamic stuff. One thing I've noticed is the way he draws Jazz in the first comic. This really tapered jaw and cheekbone line. makes it a little like he gives Jazz a little broader of a cheekbone. Sorry, he gives Jazz a little broader of a jawline as the comic goes on, and I'll show you that in issue 4. Um, I think I was going to say before, I haven't really read. I read this first issue, and Jazz, he's basically coming back to town. He plays trumpet. He's a jazz player, but he's also like a gangster. Um, I don't want to spoil the story for you at all, and I should really go back and read it. I draw all the time. I don't have much time to read these days. I probably should make more time to read. Um, as I'm, but I've been writing my own stuff, so I try not to take in too much influence. At the same time, though, I do go back to this collection of books and artwork that I've kept over the years, and I look to it for reference. How to set up panels. A lot of the stuff I look at isn't your typical like superhero Marvel DC style comic either. A lot of it is heavily drawn upon the storytelling. There's always a lot of mood and pacing. Not always the need for like panels jumping out, you know, jumping off the page, being overly stylized layouts. You have a very standard panel layout on these pages. Mind you, there's tons of panels on these pages if you guys haven't noticed already. As I mentioned, these books are much bigger than our comic books that we get here in the Americas. So yeah, they pack a lot more information on every single page. What do you guys think of this guy's drawing style? It's pretty fantastic, isn't it? See the ink work without the color. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, wasn't I wasn't pointed to this artist by anybody in particular. I found him on my own, and as I continue to go to conventions and as I've continued to grow my repertoire of favorite artists, I've noticed a lot of those favorite artists admire this guy too. Also, Roger Ibanez is very humble and friendly to the point where you can message the guy and he'll probably get back to you. I don't think he's as popular as I'd like him to be. God, he's good. Wow. I just did a video on tangent lines. Can you spot any? I don't think so. Man, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. I tell you what, I'll pay to watch my trumpet for a few hours. 100 euros to guard a hunk of scrap metal. You got a deal. Her and that Chihuahua could really use that $100. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah. This guy is amazing. And this book gets so much better. This is the first book, and it gets so much better. Alright, so you got an idea for the style. You can see how well he draws his characters, how well he draws his background, how he lights things. I mean, it's moody as it gets, His characters they're brilliantly drawn. I mean, this is like why I love the European style so much. They're breaking all the rules. Or they're sticking to all the traditional stuff and improving upon it, whatever your take is, but look at how stylized everything is. Look at the brushwork. Look at the contour lines on this guy's neck, in his hair. The little hatching here and these contour lines. This is beautiful stuff, guys. The textural stuff right here in the shadow. I mean, these colors and these textures. This is brilliant work. This, when you see stuff like this, you gotta buy it. You have to. You have to study it. Okay, let's go to book 4 and check out that artwork in comparison. Because it changes pretty drastically. I'm pretty sure I have this book. Look at the cover. More brilliant brushwork from Roger Ibanez. He does all the artwork, all the inking. This man is incredible. You should reach out to him. He's so friendly. And he really, really appreciates the love. You know? I don't think these guys are as big as they should be. Look at the action. Did I mention this guy draws action? Incredible. Okay, like, we all love Roger Ibanez here in America. Roger, if you don't know, you know now. I'm sure you do. I'm sure he's blown up. I haven't been to a convention in years, and I would just love to talk shop with professionals and bring this guy's name up, and, you know. I think I mentioned that in some of my look at videos before. Like, you go to a convention, bring some of your best artwork, show an artist, show an editor, you know. Hopefully you get their head turning. Hopefully they like what you're producing, and, you know, the best thing you can hope for that's logical is a good conversation. And like a conversation that kind of puts a memory in their head about you. Oh, hey, yeah, him and me, we talked about, you know, Roger Ibanez and Mobius that day, and storytelling. You know, he's got a ways to go with his artwork, but he's gonna get there. You know, professionals don't forget. You know, and if they see that you're looking in the right direction, they know it's a matter of, and then if they know you've got skill, you know, they know it's a matter of time before you get this stuff nailed down and you start producing your own genius artwork, storytelling, you know. I cannot wait to get back into the conventions and show my work and talk to editors and hopefully get some more projects going. Wow, these poses are incredible. Every freaking panel is awesome. Oh God, I could look at this stuff all day. Yeah. So you always want to have a ton of stuff like this in your repertoire when you're learning how to draw, okay? And we're talking about illustrating comic books specifically here. You know, you should have your favorite Marvel and DC examples of, you know, of how they construct their characters, how they stylize them with their ink finishes, you know, how they stylize the page layouts. You should have yourself a bunch of Dark Horse comics, you know, Vertigo comics. You should have a bunch of graphic novels that are drawn, you know, in comparison, you might say poorly, but stylized. You know, have a huge repertoire of artwork. Have all this stuff from Europe, as much as you can get. And I mean, it goes back for years. This stuff was all inspired by something else, right? Man, this guy's so good. I love shots where you can see down a stairwell, a winding stairwell. I don't think they're as hard as you make them out to be. If you break them apart using perspective, I think they're fairly simple. But you can tell, like, you know, what did he do first? Did he build that room first, or did he build it around the character? I bet you he built it around the character. And we were talking about scale in one of my last lesson videos. Do you notice everything he draws is perfectly proportionate to scale in the room, you know? Just, you know, everything's drawn perfectly, right? Wow. Let's throw a shout out to the colorist. The colors in this are fantastic. Flat hues that, I mean, could you pull this off? Look at this panel. There's one, two, three, four colors plus the colors that make up the little blues player there. Hell yeah. So, as you go through these comic books and you admire the artwork, you start to learn things, right? Composition, how to pose characters. You know, look at how he drew that guitar in there. He kept that guitar and its entire shape and its entire silhouette within the silhouette and shape of the character. And he's sitting there perfectly. His legs foreshortened. This leg's foreshortened. You've got that drop shadow in behind him, bringing him forward, These legs in the back of the stool he's sitting on, they're completely blackened out, yet they're there to give shape to the stool that he's sitting on. And that's all fitted in perspective. All the floorboards are in perspective. And then, he's got the line work, which is brilliant. And I really admire. He doesn't do any cross hatching. He does contour hatching, where he'll drop an area into black, and he'll kind of brush out from that, and he'll feather away. But notice that, a lot of these contour lines come out of those brush strokes. Like in the hand here, those contour lines of his wrist wrap from that line that represents his thumb bone, that first bone in his hand there goes to his thumb, wraps around his wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4 little lines there to indicate it. 4 little lines in behind there to indicate it. All these little feathered lines that he's done with the brush, they're all angled and contoured around his objects, ever so subtly. This is brilliant stuff, because you ask yourself a lot of the time, have I done too much? Did I give it too much? Did I do too little? This is like the perfect in-between. If you look at Roger's work, it's the perfect in-between. You got great shapes. All the characters have great shapes. All the characters have great silhouettes. They're all inked just enough. And no tangents. Everything's scaled beautifully. Expressive, moody. And then, the coloring, it just completes it. He keeps the consistency in all of his characters. It's pretty fantastic stuff. It's about as good as it gets. So, please, get out there. Grab yourself at least book 1. Give yourself a taste. You can get these digitally too. I'll link everything in the descriptions below. Let's go back to the top here. So yeah, this book was written by, I guess he goes by Raul. It was illustrated by Roger Ibanez, and I want to know who the colorist is. Doesn't really say. That's weird. Anyway, I'll leave it in the description below. I'll leave the deets there. Maybe Roger did the coloring too. Who knows? He definitely does all these splash pages with the washed ink. So pretty amazing guy. Check him out on Instagram and Facebook. And reach out to him if you want to send him some love or ask him ask him for advice. He's very surprisingly humble, and we'll get back to you very fast. All right, let's wrap this up. Thanks for coming by and checking this awesome stuff out. Jazz Maynard, everybody. Go get it. All right? If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. Hit that red wolf and become a cub. All right? One with the wolf pack. All right? Till next time. Check you later.